The transfer window is open and players are being linked to every club in the Premier League. I'll be analysing one player that's being linked to each club in the Premier League next season. The rumours of Thomas Partey making his way to the Premier League are back, and it's Arsenal who are trying to sign the midfielder. As reported by Fabrizio Romano, he has a release clause of €50 million in his contract, and Arsenal are yet to meet that. Partey does well defensively, making 2.5 tackles per 90 as well as 1.7 interceptions. He is also good with the ball at his feet, making 2 successful dribbles per 90 and an impressive success rate of 89%. I was interested last year in seeing him in the Premier League, so I'd like to see this transfer go through. As Arteta looks to build his own team at the Emirates, it looks like Partey would be a good choice in their midfield. Said Benrahma was wanted by Aston Villa last year, however the deal never happened and Benrahma stayed at Brentford for another year. In that time, he has once again proved what a quality player he really is, and has caught the eye of a lot of Premier League fans. Now that Villa has sacked their sporting director, maybe it's time for Dean Smith to step in and get the man he wanted last summer. With the potential departure of Grealish, Benrahma would step in and add flair to the team, a player who wants to get the ball and take on the opposition. It won't be an easy deal though, as he's attracting a lot of interest, reportedly from Chelsea, so it may be that the player is out of their price range. Brighton have wasted no time in getting stuck into their transfer business, making 2 signings already. And another name linked to Brighton is Ainsley Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, a versatile player able to play defensive midfield and right back, also making a few appearances on the left for Arsenal too. With how Graham Potter likes to switch formation and be flexible with his team, a player like Maitland-Niles would make perfect sense. He's been fairly solid in the Arsenal team with good tackling ability, making 2.7 per 90 this season. That ranks him 3rd among Arsenal players, and 3 last season ranked him 2nd. A consistency in his tackling there, so it proves that this is a strength of his. He had a great start to the season, and in the first game versus Newcastle he completed 4 of 6 attempted dribbles. I see this as a deal that could definitely happen, and I'm very interested to see Graham Potter's project evolve. Sean Dyche has again guided Burnley to a solid finish in the Premier League, and again has made them a tough team to break down. They could now be looking at Southampton loanee Harrison Reed to bolster their midfield. This season he was at Fulham in the Championship on loan and has helped them to finish in the playoffs. The defensive midfielder has made the most interceptions per 90 for Fulham with 1.9 and also 2.3 tackles per 90, ranking him 4th among the squad. He's certainly a Burnley type player that would add more defensive stability, but instead into the midfield. They added Josh Brownhill into the squad back in the January transfer window, so with them looking to bring in Harrison Reed too, it certainly shows that they want to add depth into that position. Frank Lampard doesn't seem to be a fan of Kepa, the most expensive goalkeeper signed in football. This was clear on the last game of the season where he benched him and played Caballero. A target for them is Ajax goalkeeper Andre Onana, who is up for sale this summer as stated by Edwin van der Sar. He stayed for the season that's just finished and is now available to leave this window. Reports say that Ajax have an asking price of £27 million, so just a little bit cheaper than the £71.6 million they paid in 2018. He's been a solid keeper for Ajax for multiple seasons now, in the league but also in European competitions. He played well in the Champions League this season. It seems Chelsea have a few goalkeepers on their list, of course, but Onana is probably the one that makes the most sense. Crystal Palace need to add some attacking quality into their team, and they may be looking into the Championship to do that. Scoring 26 goals in the Championship this season, making him the joint top goal scorer, Ollie Watkins is drawing interest from Premier League clubs. However, a transfer may be dependent on Brentford's promotion push. The Athletic have reported there's a buyout clause worth around £18 million in Watkins' contract, which could easily be met by interested clubs. Jordan Ayew was their top goal scorer with 9 this season, and second was Zaha with 4 goals and 5 assists. He could potentially be leaving the club, so getting Watkins in to help out with the loss of quality in Zaha will be big for them. Not a like-for-like replacement, but instead a proven goal scorer, you could expect this signing to be a similar one to Maupay joining Brighton last year. Maupay scored 25 in the Championship for Brentford and has gone and scored 10 goals and assists 3 times in the Premier League for Brighton. Goals are much needed for Crystal Palace, and they'd be taking a step in the right direction by signing Ollie Watkins. Carlo Ancelotti started the season at Napoli, and he could be bringing one of his former players to Everton in Allen. It wouldn't be a cheap signing for the Toffees. It's reported that a deal could be worth £35 million. The rumour could be an easy link for news reporters to make because Carlo was managing him less than a year ago, but it does seem he's a big fan of Allen. He won the most tackles per 90 in Serie A with 3.5, making him a player that would add stability into Everton's midfield. He's got great passing range with 3.3 accurate long balls per 90, making him suitable for Ancelotti's direct style of play. It could be one of many additions to Everton's squad as Carlo tries to build his own team, possibly this is a priority on the transfer shortlist. Leeds United don't seem to be messing about, with a recent report of them looking to sign Jonathan David. He's a player I in fact made a full in-depth video on why he would be suitable for Manchester United, but the Premier League in general. For the full analysis on him, then check out the video in the top right or in the description, but here's what you could expect to see from him. He'd had great pace into Leeds' attack, usually playing in behind the striker and acting as a second striker when playing for Ghent. He is a goal scorer, and it's his positioning which is getting him the goals, arriving late in the box and finding space where he can put the ball in the back of the net. For a newly promoted side, signing an exciting youngster like Jonathan David would show that Leeds are here to stay, and are looking at the right players to do so. A few weeks back there was rumours of Leicester City being interested in Luka Jovic from Real Madrid. He only signed for the Spanish side a year ago and hasn't got back into the form that he had when he was at Frankfurt. When he was there, he was fantastic at finding space and being the man to score the goals, being on the end of whatever his teammates were able to create. You could suggest that at Leicester he could start to get back to his goal scoring form, as this is what the Foxes have done so well with Jamie Vardy this year. Looking to build up and create for the striker, Vardy being on the end of created chances, Jovic could play a great part in this Leicester team as they move into a Europa League campaign. In the 18-19 season, Jovic scored 17 goals in the Bundesliga and 10 in the Europa League, the second top goal scorer in the competition that season. It may be that they just get him on loan, however I think it would be a good deal for them, and I'd be interested to see if Jovic can get back to how he was playing before. Harvey Barnes had a loan to West Brom in the 18-19 season but returned to Leicester in January 2019 because of how impressive he was in the Championship. He's now had a full season at Leicester in the Premier League, and he's gone on to score 6 goals with 8 assists, proving that he can perform well at this level too. Liverpool are rumoured to be interested in Barnes after his success of becoming a first-team regular in Brendan's side. At 22 years of age and putting in performances like he has, it shows he has the potential to have a great career in the Premier League. He's a pacey player with the mindset of taking on the opposition. He's able to create chances for his teammates, and his 8 assists for Leicester is the most in the team. In a Liverpool side of quality and a team that scores a lot of goals, Harvey Barnes would fit right in and play a part in the team scoring and assisting. FERRAN Torres might be a transfer that is done and announced by the time this video is out. This one seems like it's going to happen. The Valencia winger was one of my ones to watch in the Champions League knockout stages because of how much he's improved this year. A left winger in Leroy Sané has left the club, and a right winger who can also play on the left in FERRAN Torres is coming in. He finished the season with 4 goals and 5 assists, so proving that he's a winger that contributes in both ways, creating and scoring himself. His display versus Atalanta in the Champions League was very impressive. He scored and assisted in this game, making 2 key passes and completing a dribble. At 20 years of age and a reported price of £24 million, he could be seen in a few years as a fantastic deal by Manchester City. Manchester United are clearly interested in Jack Grealish at Aston Villa. However, with Aston Villa's incredible escape from relegation and not falling into the Championship, he's going to cost them a lot of money. A reported £80 million in fact is what it may take to get Grealish from Villa, which you can debate about for a while. Is he really worth that price tag? Especially when Donny van de Beek, who they were linked to in June, who just like ONANA has an agreement at Ajax to be sold this window. A reported £40 million is what it would take to sign him from the Dutch club. So a deal that would make perfect sense for Manchester United when they aren't exactly too different in quality. Van de Beek is a little different in the fact that he can play deeper than Grealish, this season taking up a central midfield role as Frankie de Jong left last summer. He proved that he can play this role as well as playing at attacking midfield, which he did so well the season before, showcasing this in their fantastic Champions League campaign. OLLIE is clearly looking to add creative depth, and Van de Beek would be able to do that in the midfield, being able to play higher or deeper throughout the season. Newcastle is a difficult one because of their situation. Are they making many signings, and who can they sign? There hasn't been many links, but one that there was a week ago was Leicester City winger DEMARAI. At Leicester, he's only been a rotation player. He played 607 minutes in the Premier League this season. He was once someone seen to have great potential and hasn't exactly ever done extremely well in the Premier League. The thing is, Leicester are now in the Europa League, so I'm sure that he'd want to stay with a chance of playing in that competition. He could be seen as a replacement for Alan St-Maximin, although Gray does play on the right usually. 10 goals and 11 assists in 132 games in the Premier League. It isn't fantastic, but maybe by playing an important role in the Newcastle team, a lot of possession will go through him looking to assist and score. Probably not very likely, but it's one of the few links that they've had so far. Sheffield United may be dipping into the Championship this window as they look to bring in central midfielder John Swift from Reading into the team. The 25-year-old has been very impressive this year, making the 4th most assists in the league with 10, as well as scoring 6 goals. At central midfield, he covers the whole pitch and is a creative asset to the team. He made 94 key passes, the 4th most in the league. He had 70 successful dribbles this season, which is the 13th most, and nobody with him in that list had a higher success rate with 69.3%. Sheffield United have been defensively solid, and there's no doubt that this will continue next year. But in terms of scoring goals, of which they had 39 in the Premier League, that puts them 15th. Adding Swift into the midfield would for sure help them with creating more chances and changing the way that the Blaze can attack. A player that can put the ball into dangerous areas to hurt the opposition, look for runs made by teammates, which we know Sheffield United do so well. A signing I'd really like to see to a team that have been brilliant in the Premier League. It's looking quite likely that Højbjerg will be leaving Southampton to join either Tottenham or Everton, meaning that the Saints will be looking for a replacement in the midfield. One player that they are linked to is Schalke's 21-year-old Weston McKennie, who would suit Hasenhüttl's system perfectly. A tireless midfielder who is used to pressing at Schalke, which is why he would be great at Southampton. This is what Ralph's side did really well in 2020, and he's got them pressing the opposition heavily. Weston has proved he's got a good reading of the game by making 1.99 interceptions in the Bundesliga, ranking 11th among midfielders in the league. Southampton also have a great record of developing youngsters. Højbjerg himself joined Southampton at the age of 20 in 2016, and he's developed into a solid midfielder, gaining interest from other teams. Weston McKennie could make the same move from the Bundesliga to Southampton. I see this as one that could happen. Under Jose Mourinho, we've seen the right back Serge Aurier sometimes being the player the highest up the field for Tottenham. Mourinho wants the fullbacks to attack, and maybe he wants someone who can do it better, and that's why Timothy Castagne is linked to them. Timothy can play on the left or the right flank, so this would be a huge bonus to Jose Mourinho. In the setup at Atalanta, he's actually playing in a wide midfield role instead of left back or right back. However, this is how Atalanta came to sign him. At Genk, he played at right back, and this is where they saw his attacking qualities. Possibly he's one of many targets at Tottenham as Mourinho looks to improve the side in his first full season. Anthony Robinson was so close to joining AC Milan in January, but the deal fell through because of a medical examination. And with the struggling times that Wigan are going through, it seems likely that the left back will be leaving Wigan this year. So there's a number of teams that will be after him, and newly promoted side West Brom could possibly be an option for Anthony. He's certainly good with the ball at his feet, with 81 successful dribbles this season, ranking him 10th in the Championship and first among defenders in the Championship. He'd be a good addition to Bilic's side, adding flair and attacking intent on the left flank. Getting a player that is technically good will help West Brom as they look to survive in the Premier League next season. Eberechi Eze was a player I mentioned in my January transfer window, linking him to Sheffield United at the start of the year. Still now, he has a lot of links to Premier League clubs, and it seems a move away from the Championship is just around the corner. In January, they looked to the Championship to sign Jarrod Bowen from Hull City. Since his arrival, he showed exactly what he's about, assisting 4 times and grabbing 1 goal in 922 minutes, and also contributing well defensively with 1.5 tackles per 90 and 1.2 interceptions. Bowen had a few seasons of doing extremely well at Hull, whereas Eze has had 2 seasons at QPR. This year scoring 14 and assisting 8, the previous season scoring and assisting 4. I've also talked previously about how he's similar to Dele Alli because he scores a lot from attacking midfield, and this would be great for West Ham. He'd link up really well with Bowen, but also Antonio, who I think is a fantastic player, and he's gone on to prove that towards the end of the season. And maybe with Bowen and Eze in the team creating chances, Haller could start to flourish because of their qualities. It was only last summer that Alain Saint-Maximin joined Newcastle United from French side Nice in a transfer worth £16.2 million. At the time, I was so surprised to see Newcastle sign such a quality player for that kind of money, and well, it has turned out to be a great deal. He contributed to 8 goals, scoring 3 and assisting 5, and was 3rd in the Premier League for most successful dribbles per 90 with 5.8, behind Traore and Buffon. This fantastic debut season in England has caught the eye of other teams, and one of the teams seems to be Wolves. Adding him into a team with Adama Traore, who completed the most successful dribbles, would become deadly. We know how much Traore has improved at Wolves, and if they can continue to develop Saint-Maximin in the same way, then wow, Wolves could be onto something here. If he does leave Newcastle, I'd love it to be another Premier League team that he joins, as he's been great to watch this year. Comment below, who would you like to see join the Premier League for next season? I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.